guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be painting this zombie that I 3D printed, and I'll leave all the information down below where you can download him. And that head wound that I just showed you, that is not a part of the model. I actually molded that onto the head using wood filler. I did film that process and I don't know what happened to the footage. I think I accidentally deleted it. So unfortunately, I don't have that to share with you guys today, but in an upcoming video, I'll definitely add a similar technique in something so that I can show you guys how to do that. And now I am just painting the eyeballs, and I'm really not being precise because I know that when I paint the skin, I'm going to be going over it and cleaning it all up. So I'm just making sure that the paint goes on smooth and not too lumpy, and that's really all I'm paying attention to now at this point. And right now I'm putting a white base coat on the cone because I'm gonna paint it an orange color, a very bright orange, and I want the orange to pop, so it's important to put that white base coat. Otherwise you're just gonna be fighting with the gray, the gray tones underneath. And this model was not gray when it printed. It was actually white, but I used a filler primer for this model to kind of fill in some of the imperfections from the 3D print. And so now I am using a shade of orange that I mixed. I used different brands and different shades to get this color. One of the colors was like a neon orange, and I mixed it with more of like a classic orange to get this shade, and it was super thin. So unfortunately I ended up having to do multiple coats, but it's alright, it all turned out good. And now I'm doing the zombie skin color, and I mixed like a bright turquoise, a gray, and a white to get this shade. Now funny thing about this zombie is I had no idea like where this zombie was from. It kind of looked familiar to me, but I just wasn't connecting the dots. And after I finished painting it, I texted a picture of it to my sister, and she was like, "That's from Plants vs. Zombies," and I literally had no clue. So of course I Google it, and sure enough, it is from Plants vs. Zombies. And the funny thing is that without even realizing it or knowing it, I painted this thing almost identical to the original zombie. Like, it's just funny. Like, I switched some colors around. I even ended up having a striped tie in the end. So it was just funny how close I got to the original without even realizing what I was doing. So it's kind of funny. But now I am painting the jacket, and I wanted it to be like a plum color. So I mixed a purple, a black, and a red, I believe, to get this shade. And this one kind of went on a little thin too, but not as bad as the orange did. And so I'm just putting that first coat on there, and I'm going to be putting on multiple coats as we go. And now for the pants, I wanted them to be like a mustardy brown color. So I mixed yellow and dark brown together, and I got this like pukey shade. And I really like the color, so I'm gonna apply that all over his pants. And for the shoes, I just picked a brown, and then I mixed that brown with a little bit of red and a little bit of white to lighten it up a tad, and I ended up with that shade that you see right there. And I decided on like a light butter yellow for the zombie shirt, and that also took a couple coats because like the gray from the underside was kind of coming through. So I ended up having to do a few coats of that as well. now I'm just painting the inside of the mouth, and for this I mix a pink and a gray to kind of get like dying flesh color. And as you can see over the eyes, I added more coats of white, but I also took like that same butter yellow that I used for his shirt, mixed it with some white and kind of went over the eyes a little bit. And now I'm taking that gum color and I'm starting to create some tones in that head wound, because what I want it to look like is I want it to look like part of the skull is showing and then there's some blood and maybe some flesh there. So that's the purpose of having the pink around the perimeter. And now this little leg sticking out, I thought that this might be his actual leg, but I just decided I wanted to make it bone. So I'm painting it white. And now I'm just applying stripes to the tie. And I love these little like paintbrush things. They're by Testers. They are so handy. And now I'm just painting white stripes along the top of the cone. Now I'm going to be painting the soles of the zombie shoes, and I wanted to go with a darker brown, so I just used the dark brown that I had just straight out of the bottle. And now I'm going to be painting the base black. And for this one I used a gloss acrylic black. Now I'm just painting those fingernails, and this is kind of like a yellowy white kind of color. And I went ahead and added some bright red around that flesh wound there, and now I'm adding some darker red and I'm kind of splotching it around, but I want to keep that white in the center as much as possible because I do want it to look like the skull is kind of exposed. Now I'm taking those tiny little brushes by Testers and I'm just dipping them in some brown paint, and I'm, darkening up the teeth and adding some dark spots on the nails. And now I'm taking gray paint and I'm dry brushing it on top of the base. I really wanted to add some texture and variation to the base, and I really like the way that it turned out. Now I'm taking a lighter shade of that purple that I have, so I just added a little bit of white to it to lighten it up a little bit. And now I'm hitting all the high points of the zombie's jacket. And this is just basically creating some dimension and some visual interest and just making it look a little bit better. And I'm also going to be doing the same thing to the pants, just taking that original brown that I used and adding a little bit of white just to lighten it up a bit and to add some dimension. And now I'm taking a different shade of pink and gray, and I'm applying that to the tongue so that the tongue is a little bit of a different shade than the rest of the mouth. And this was my first time trying this technique, but I took little strands of yarn, red yarn, and I broke them up, and then I applied like gloss to the eye, and then I took those little strands and I stuck them over the gloss and then painted the gloss over top of them. And I was trying to create like eye veins, and I think it turned out kind of cool. Now I'm taking a very small amount of black paint on a brush, and I'm kind of scuffing up this cone, making it look like maybe it's been run over a few times or whatever. It's got some scuff marks on it. So, like, oddly enough, the cone ended up being one of my favorite parts of this like model after it was done, which is kind of funny because it's such a small part of the model, but I don't know why it was my favorite, but it just kind of is. And now I'm taking chalk pastels, and I went around the edge of the eye, and now I'm taking the chalk pastels and I was putting it in the back of the throat so that when you look straight on at the zombie, you could actually see that the throat got darker. And now I'm just shading random areas on the zombie with chalk pastels. I'm kind of going under the pants and just under some of the folds and wrinkles just to create more dimension. And now I'm making sure to hit underneath of each of those wrinkles, so now they just look more pronounced. And I'm going to hit those nostrils too, so they look a little deeper. And now I'm taking like an olive green chalk pastel, and I'm laying that over top of the base. Alright guys, that's it! I hope you enjoyed watching me paint this zombie. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!